Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. The entire team of DD India wishes Indians at home and abroad a very happy Republic Day. We'll get you top stories from India and the region. I am Tanvi Taneja. And for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague Caroline Malone from Washington, D.C. Namaste, Caroline.
Well, good morning, Tanvi. It's 9 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. and 3 in the afternoon across Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we'll hear more about Sweden's bid to join NATO. But first, the headlines.
India celebrates its 75th Republic Day. President Emmanuel Macron of France attends the celebrations as the chief guest. A French marching contingent and 3 French Air and Space Force jets take part in the flight past. India and France agree on a roadmap for defense industrial production, ink pacts on space cooperation, satellite launches and clean energy. 2026 to be celebrated as the India-France Year of Innovation. India's Tata and France's Airbus to manufacture helicopters together. France's Safran is willing to share technology to make fighter jet engines in India. And Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, responding to the International Court of Justice ruling, says Israel will continue to defend its citizens while adhering to international law. India celebrated its 75th Republic Day on Friday, displaying its military might, cultural diversity and traditional values. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the nation in commemorating the historic day where women were seen in leadership roles at the Grand Parade at Kartavya Path in New Delhi. The theme for this year's parade was Viksit Bharat, or Developed India. French President Emmanuel Macron became the 6th French leader to witness the celebrations as the chief guest. A report. Steeped in nationalistic fervour, India, that is Bharat, celebrated its 75th Republic Day.
In fact, when the Prime Minister...
It was on this day in 1950 that India's constitution replaced the Government of India Act of 1935, giving the Republic of India its sovereign democratic form.
Honouring and revering those...
Prime Minister Narendra Modi began the day by leading the nation in paying homage to the numerous soldiers who've made the supreme sacrifice in defence of the motherland. President Draupadi Murmu and chief guest French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in a horse-drawn chariot led by the only serving active horse cavalry regiment in the world, the 61 Cavalry. President Macron joined his Indian host in greeting Namaste
of France, Emmanuel Macron.
On display was everything that defines India: military might, cultural diversity and traditional values. Each marching contingent proudly saluting the President of India, their supreme commander, and whose office embodies India's nationhood. The chief guest, President Emmanuel Macron, too acknowledged the French band and marching contingents that marched with their Indian counterparts.
As well.
An all-women marching contingent of the 3 armed forces, led by Captain Sandhya, proudly saluted President of India, Draupadi Murmu. Women power was on display throughout the parade. Women officers took the lead in displaying the Swati weapon locating radar and the Pinaka rocket system. CRPF's Women Band and the Armed Forces Medical Services provided a colourful depiction of India's cultural richness and military strength. Bureau Report, DD India. And on to West Asia now. The Israel-Hamas conflict. The United Nations top court ordered Israel on Friday to take measures to protect Palestinians and to do more to help them although the International Court of Justice stopped short of ordering a ceasefire as requested by South Africa. My colleague Caroline Malone is in Washington, D.C. She gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. Caroline, a victory for South Africa here?
Well, perhaps not a full victory, no, but certainly recognition that Israel needs to do more to protect civilians in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has responded to the World Court ruling and saying it would do whatever is necessary to defend itself while adhering to international law. The World Court on Friday had ordered Israel to take measures to protect Palestinians and do more to help them, although it stopped short of ordering a ceasefire as requested by South Africa. The court also directed Israel to allow the entry of basic services and humanitarian assistance for Palestinians in Gaza.
Israel's commitment to international law is unwavering. Equally unwavering is our sacred commitment to continue to defend our country and defend our people. Like every country, Israel has an inherent right to defend itself. The vile attempt to deny Israel this fundamental right is blatant discrimination against the Jewish state, and it was justly rejected. The charge of genocide leveled against Israel is not only false, it's outrageous, and decent people everywhere should reject it. On the eve of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, I again pledge as Israel's Prime Minister, never again.
Well, this comes as Israel's forces continue to engage in battles in the heart of Khan Yunis in Gaza. The Israeli army said that its forces struck dozens of Hamas fighters and infrastructure from the air and ground. Its troops also fired at Hamas targets in northern Gaza. The fighting comes as Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu vowed the country will continue to eliminate Hamas.
Today, we are planting trees in the blood and sorrow-soaked ground, living trees in their memory. Hamas came to support us. We will uproot them. Hamas came to wipe us. We will wipe them out. Total victory means eliminating Hamas and returning all our hostages. We will not give in on this goal.
Well, updates on the Ukraine-Russia conflict now. At Moscow's request, the United Nations Security Council met on Thursday to discuss the downing of a Russian plane. The UN Political Affairs Chief Rosemary DiCarlo said that the UN was not in a position to verify the circumstances of the crash. A senior Russian lawmaker said that Ukrainian military intelligence had been given a 15-minute warning before the plane entered the area. But Ukraine has denied that, saying it wasn't given a warning.
We understand both Russia and Ukraine are conducting separate investigations into the incident, and Ukraine has called for an international probe. The United Nations is not in a position to verify these reports or the circumstances of the crash. What is clear is that the incident took place in the context of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ongoing war. To avoid further escalation, we urge all concerned to refrain from actions, rhetoric, or allegations that could further fuel the already dangerous conflict.
Well, meanwhile, Russia has said that it will use alternative routes to export gas if Ukraine does not extend the deal on Russian gas transit to Europe. Well, the current 5-year pact between Moscow and Kyiv is due to expire at the end of this year. Ukraine used to be Russia's main route for supplying gas to Europe. However, the use of the route was declined after Russia built the Nord Stream gas pipeline. Russia's gas supplies to Europe also dwindled due to sanctions amid the Ukraine conflict. Well, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said on Friday he expected Hungary's parliament to ratify Sweden's accession as soon as possible, clearing the final hurdle for the Nordic nation to join the Western military alliance. Hungary is the only NATO member that has not ratified Sweden's application to join the military alliance. After the Turkish parliament ratified Stockholm's application, President Tayyip Erdogan signed off on approval on Thursday. All of NATO's 31 members have to ratify an applicant's country accession before it can join the alliance.
Swedish membership in NATO will make NATO stronger and all of us safer. And therefore I welcome that Montenegro actually very rapidly ratified and accepted the Swedish accession into our alliance. I welcome the decision by the Grand National Assembly of Turkey to ratify, and also that President Erdogan shortly after the decision gave his signature to the decision of the parliament. So now all the decisions are in place in Turkey.
Well, Turkey is moving swiftly to conclude Sweden's NATO bid with F-16 fighter jets in sight. Well, Turkey expects to send final ratification for Sweden's NATO membership as early as Friday, which clears the way for Ankara's purchase of F-16 jets from the United States. Well, Turkey's Erdogan said his foreign minister was working in close coordination with the US on the matter.
I signed the legislation approving Sweden's bid to join NATO, and it was published in the official gazette at night. Right now, one day earlier, US President Joe Biden sent almost a written order to the House of Representatives and the other Congress, all of them, and conveyed his request for them to push this from their Congress as soon as possible. We are waiting for this.
Well, moving on now, and in the United States, lawyers for former President Donald Trump and E. Jean Carroll will give closing arguments on Friday, and then jurors will decide how much to award Carroll after Trump was seen to defame her after he was found liable for sexually assaulting her. Trump took the stand in a New York courtroom on Thursday to defend himself in the defamation trial, saying he only wanted to defend myself, my family, and frankly, the presidency. Well, the foreign ministers of Venezuela and Guyana met in Brazil to discuss their dispute over the oil-rich Essequibo region. Agreements were made to refrain from using violence or making threats about the territorial dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. This came about after President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela resurrected his claims to an oil-rich area on their shared border. During the press conference, Venezuela's Foreign Minister Ivan Gil said they agree on the need to continue to work through diplomatic channels.
The government of President Nicolas Maduro Muro is fully committed to seeking alternatives that will allow us to reach a mutually acceptable solution to the dispute or controversy that we have in Guyana Essequibo.
Well, the Guyanese Foreign Minister Hugh Todd has said his nation is committed to allowing the International Court of Justice to offer a solution on the dispute.
For us, it is final, complete, and perfect. But of course, we are committed to the process which would allow for the International Court of Justice to deliberate on the case and to provide a judgment which we, Guyana, have already committed that we will honor.
Well, thousands of Australians have gathered in their state capitals on Friday to celebrate Australia's National Day. Many people celebrate the holiday with barbecues and trips to the beach, and it's also a popular date for immigrants to receive their Australian citizenship. Australia Day commemorates the day that Britain established the state of New South Wales as a penal colony. Addressing the people, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said, "Australia Day is a chance to pause and reflect on everything that we have achieved as a nation."
Australia Day is our chance to pause and reflect on everything that we have achieved as a nation, everything that we have created and built and learned through all the ups and downs of our history, the mighty challenges we have faced, the profound opportunities we have seized, the stern tests we have passed together, everything that has made us who we are as a people.
Well, the day is also marked by protests across the country, with thousands of people marching in solidarity with Indigenous Australians and calling for a change to the date, which also marks the start of injustices suffered by Indigenous Australians since colonisation. Rallies were in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Hobart, as well as other major cities. Well, that's it from me here in Washington, and back to you in the studio, Tanvi.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Caroline Malone joining us all on DD India Global from Washington, D.C. You're watching DD India Global, still to come on the show. Indian government confers its second highest civilian award, Padma Vibhushan, to its former Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, South's superstars Vijayanti Mala and Chiranjeevi. World leaders extended their greetings to India on its 75th Republic Day. India's overseas missions and diaspora joined the Republic Day celebrations abroad.
As India celebrates its 75th Republic Day, we embark on a journey through time, capturing India's progress from the discovery of zero to its incredible modern-day achievements. Watch the story of India's resilience, progress and innovation. The story of a self-reliant India. On Connecting the Dots with me every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja. More now on India-France strategic ties. The India's Ministry of External Affairs held a special briefing in New Delhi on the ongoing visit of French President Emmanuel Macron to India. Listing the outcomes from the bilateral talks held yesterday, the Indian Foreign Secretary highlighted the India-France Defence Industrial Roadmap, an agreement on defence space partnership and more. DD India's Meghna Dev has more.
India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra briefed media on President Emmanuel Macron's ongoing visit to India. The French president is accompanied by a 40-member strong delegation, which includes 3 ministers, ministers of foreign affairs, defense and culture. This is the 6th time a French leader has come for India's Republic Day, which is a maximum for any country. Highlighting the talks between PM Modi and President Macron, Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra said that besides the bilateral relationship, the talks also focused what's happening in different parts of the world, ongoing conflict in Gaza and situation in the Red Sea.
With regard to developments in the Red Sea, naturally the disruptions, the potential disruption and the actual things happening in the maritime domain there, which is causing disruption to the commercial shipping, indeed is a matter of serious concern, and the both leaders focused on it.
Listing the outcomes from the talks, Foreign Secretary highlighted the India-France Defence Industrial Roadmap, agreement on defence space partnership, health sector and more.
These are the documents which have been agreed upon. Roadmap on the India-France Defence Industrial Roadmap, actually. 2, an agreement on defence space partnership. 3, an MOU between New Space India Limited, NSIL, and Ariane Space with regard to satellite launches. Partnership, industrial partnership between Tata and Airbus helicopters for production of H-125 helicopters with a significant indigenous and localization component. Agreement between Department of Science and Technology, 2 agreements actually, and the counterpart French institutions with regard to joint research in clean energy, mainly decarbonized hydrogen, applied mathematics, digital technologies, and precision agriculture. Also, an agreement between two ministries of health on healthcare cooperation, education, training and research. This would include the space of digital health and use of artificial intelligence in the healthcare sector.
As the two countries have agreed to adopt defense production roadmap, Ambassador of India to France Javed Ashraf spoke on the Safran India Shakti jet engines deal with featured in the conversation between President Macron and Prime Minister Modi. The leaders also agreed that the year 2026 will be celebrated as India-France Year of Innovation. The French president began his India visit on Thursday from Jaipur city in the Indian state of Rajasthan, where the leaders received an enthusiastic welcome. This is French President Macron's third visit to India after 2018 and then for the G20 summit in 2023. But the leaders have met around 6 times in the past year alone, taking India-France strategic partnership to greater heights. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said on Friday that India's Tata Group and France's Airbus have signed an agreement to manufacture civilian helicopters together.
Industrial partnership between Tata and Airbus helicopters for production of H-125 helicopters with a significant indigenous and localization component.
The Indian government conferred its second highest civilian award, the Padma Vibhushan, to its former Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. In his acceptance speech, Venkaiah Naidu highlighted the goals of making India self-reliant to take the country to newer heights.
The world is once again looking at India with respect, with more interest. So Indians, we people of India, we have a greater responsibility to work together, join together, maintain harmony, camaraderie, and then follow the share and care, which is the core of Indian philosophy. Thus, that policy to take the country forward.
Telugu superstar and politician K. Chiranjeevi, social worker and founder of Sulabh International, Bindeshwar Pathak, actor, South Indian actor Vijayantimala Bali and Bharatanatyam exponent Padma Subramaniam are the other recipients of Padma Vibhushan this year. India's President Draupadi Murmu hosted the at-home reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan on the occasion of India's 75th Republic Day. French President Emmanuel Macron, Vice President of India Jagdeep Dhankar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi were among the dignitaries who attended this at-home reception. World leaders have greeted India on its Republic Day today. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken lauded the vibrant people-to-people ties between India and the United States. He extended his wishes to the people of India. In a statement, Antony Blinken said that the Constitution of India continues to provide an enduring framework for the world's largest democracy and a foundation for its global leadership. Blinken recalled how 2023 has been marked by important milestones in India-US comprehensive, global and strategic partnership, including our cooperation throughout India's successful G20 presidency and at the G20 Leaders Summit. In this series, Russian President Vladimir Putin showered praises on Indian Prime Minister for guiding India towards rapid growth and development. During the visit to Kaliningrad University on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the Make in India campaign is making massive waves under PM Modi. He praised India's independent foreign policy, adding that Russia can rely on India as a trusted partner because it does not play political games on the international stage.
Suffice to say that the largest foreign investment in the Indian economy, at least it was until now, something may have changed, but the largest investment came from Russia. Our company, Rosneft, invested $23 billion in the acquisition of oil refineries and a network of gas stations, ports, etc. They have plans for the future. They want to build a plant. And this is just one example.
India's Republic Day was celebrated in Indian missions abroad as well. The High Commission of India in Colombo celebrated the 75th Republic Day in all its diplomatic offices in Sri Lanka. High Commissioner of India Santosh Jha unfurled the national flag at the India House in Colombo. Cultural performances added to the flavour of the celebrations thereafter. On Wednesday, the Indian mission organised a cultural event with 8 Indian classical dance forms to commemorate the 75th Republic Day at the BMICH Hall in Colombo. In Kathmandu, Nepal, the Republic Day celebrations of India began with the unfurling of India's national flag by Ambassador of India to Nepal, Naveen Srivastav. The ambassador also conveyed his greetings on the occasion to the members of the Indian diaspora in Nepal. The embassy also unveiled the Bhupu 2024 magazine, covering the welfare initiatives of the Government of India for ex-servicemen domiciled in Nepal. The 75th Republic Day of India resonated with enthusiasm and patriotic fervour across the United Arab Emirates as the Indian community came together for the grand celebrations at the diplomatic missions. The members of the Indian community participated in large numbers in Abu Dhabi's Embassy of India and at the Consulate General of India in Dubai. The cultural celebrations featured a range of performances, while a vibrant cultural program under the theme One Nation, One Voice is set to take place in the evening at the Taj Exotica. In Dhaka, Bangladesh, the Republic Day celebrations of India were also seen with enthusiasm and patriotic fervour at the High Commission of India there. Members of the Indian community took part in large numbers in the celebrations at the Chancery building. The High Commissioner welcomed the Indian community and greeted them on the occasion. It was followed by patriotic songs performed by the members of the Indian community in Dhaka. And as we wind up this edition of DD India Global, we now present to you a video shared by the social media handle of the US Embassy in India, extending their wishes to India a happy 75th Republic Day. In this video posted on social media platform X, it said, at the US Embassy and consulates, adults and kids alike are buzzing with excitement. Take a look.
जैसा कोई नहीं है अस्सी नहीं सौ दिन दुनिया घुमा है नहीं कहीं तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं मैं गाया जहां भी बस तेरी याद थी जो मेरे साथ थी मुझको तड़पाती रुलाती सबसे प्यारी तेरी सूरत प्यार है बस तेरा.
So with those Republic Day greetings, we wind up this edition of DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja from my entire team in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.
My God, ये रेडियो देख